everyone. My name is Ines Darrat, and I am a director on the Society of Women Engineers Board of Directors. And with me today is one of the women who was a part of the awards task force and has been leading the implementation work group, Pamela Morison. I will let Pamela introduce herself first, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll get started on the actual content. And as you have questions, please put the questions in. We may answer them in as a response in the chat, or we may answer them at the end with a response verbally. Go ahead, Pamela.
Great. So good morning, good evening, wherever you're calling in from. We tried to do this at a time that was globally inclusive. So we know we've got folks coming from all around the world and clearly all around the U.S. as well. I am serving as the implementation lead this year, and this is a full FY24 year role. So on the front half, it's a lot of the work on actually transitioning us from the previous awards program to the new awards program that Anas and I are going to talk more about in just a few minutes. And then on the back half of the year, it's really going to be emphasized on giving feedback from our members, from our nominators, from our nominees, from our coordinators and judges, to make sure that as we make all of these changes, that we're really getting the right focus. In my day job, I am a distinguished technologist with HP Inc. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I have been a SWE member, as I said this morning, greater than 20 years, and I've stopped counting at this point. But I've served in a variety of roles at both the section and the society level over the years, and it's been a great honor to get to work with the GAP task force initially, and now on with the implementation team. It's a wonderful group of women. So I will be back in a few minutes. We found that having video off makes for a better viewing experience, so I'm going to turn things over to Anas and let her start introducing herself, as well as sharing some more information with you.
Thank you, Pamela. So a little bit more about myself. As I stated, I am a director on the Society of Women Engineers Board of Directors. A couple of my responsibilities on the Board of Directors is to serve as a liaison to the awards and to the scholarship committees. And so it has been my honor the past year and this current year to work with the Awards and Recognition Committee and to work with the Awards GAP Task Force, which was led by Penny Worsing. And they have done an amazing job in looking at the SWE awards and our gaps and what we needed to do to continue to improve our awards and to find where we potentially have gaps and to make us a more inclusive society as it comes to our awards. If you take nothing else from today's presentation, really understand that this new updated awards structure is intended to be deliberately inclusive. So next slide, please. So SWE is updating its awards program to better reflect its strategic focus areas, recognize women and allies at all career stages, and simplify the award categories and application timelines. So just to kind of go over SWE's strategic focus areas and how it applies to the awards. So the first strategic area that we're going to discuss is advocacy and collaboration. So with advocacy, SWE's always had awards advocating for women in engineering, and we've had the Spark Award. But those two awards have historically gone to individuals who have 20 plus years of experience. And we've had folks apply who do amazing advocacy work, and we've had folks apply who, in the 0 to 20 years, but in reviewing the data and the number of folks who have applied and the number of individuals who have applied, and then who the awards ultimately were awarded, it appeared that most of the awards went to 20 plus years of experience. So with that, we wanted to make sure that our updated awards program included awards for individuals at all career stages. So we've got awards that are more inclusive for collegiates, and we've got awards that are also more inclusive for professionals in their 0 to 20 years. Additionally, one of the other SWE strategic goals is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We wanted to make sure that when folks looked at the SWE awards programs, SWE awards and recognition programs, that they felt like they could be included, that they could see themselves belonging to one of the recipients or one of the awards categories. And so with this, we expanded our awards. So for instance, for graduate students, we have separate awards that are specifically for graduate students versus having them be included in the outstanding just collegiate members. So now there's like 2 sets of collegiate awards. That's one for outstanding collegiate awards, collegiate members, one for outstanding graduate members, as well as there's additional collegiate awards. In addition, we wanted to make sure that the graduate students could apply for other awards. So we've got our technical, academia, and management track. And so graduate students also have the opportunity to apply for awards in those categories. Additionally, we as a society have grown globally. And so with that global expansion of SWE, we wanted to make sure that our global members around the world, as there are different cultures, different expectations for volunteerism, different expectations for their involvement with their SWE activities, we wanted to make sure that our global members could also see themselves in the awards, and that so therefore you'll see multiple awards, and Pamela will speak to this in a little bit more detail. There's some awards that are going to be going one per global region, in addition to we might have an award that, for instance, might have 20 recipients, but of those 20 recipients, we would expect that 5 of them would be one from each global region. So Pamela will speak to that in more detail. We've expanded, so we wanted to make sure we expanded globally. Additionally, we've added the Global Leadership Awards. We've previously had Global Leadership Awards, but we wanted to make sure we defined what global leadership was, and that global leadership is intended to cover that the person who's receiving the award has personnel or staff that they work with across multiple global regions or multiple countries around the world. So that was SWE's that's our third strategic is global communities. And then our last and not least, but is growth and excellence as one of our strategic goals. And again, for the growth and the excellence, we wanted to be more encompassing of also our, make sure that we had more for our academia members. We also wanted to make sure we had technical track awards. We wanted to make sure we had management track awards that folks can fit into. We've expanded our SWE specific awards as well. And then we've added our male allies. We've added additional ones for the male allies as well. And we've always given the Rodney D. Chip Award. And we wanted to make sure, just like with the Spark and the Advocating for Women in Engineering, we've got folks who apply who are in earlier career stages, and we wanted to make sure we were able to recognize them. So therefore, really our biggest overall objective of this new award program is to be more inclusive and to be more reflective of who we are as a society. Next slide. Okay. So with that, after the review that the task force did, historically, SWE has had the WE Local Awards. These are the awards that are normally given in spring, March, and April of each year. So these would be at the WE Local Award, at the WE Local conferences, at the 3 that are done in the United States, 1 that's done in Europe, and 1 that's done in India. And historically, folks have looked at the WE Local Awards as second-tier awards. They do not consider them on the same caliber as what's historically been called the individual awards. The individual awards are awards that the society gives at society conference. So this is normally our conference in October or November of each given year. And the individual awards are where we recognize, for instance, the Achievement Award, or we recognize the Rodney D. Chip Award. And so what we wanted to do is make sure that all SWE awards were given the prestige that they deserve. And we wanted to make sure, when we did our gap assessment, to make sure that all membership grades, all membership experience would be covered. And so what we've done is we've combined the WE Local Awards and the individual awards, and we've made what is now called the SWE Awards Program. The SWE Awards Program has 3 tracks: the Advocacy Leadership, SWE Leadership, and academia, management, and technical leadership. In addition to the individual awards and the SWE local awards, we also recognize SWE mission and multicultural awards. These are mostly recognition awards. And as part of the individual awards, we have the patent awards. And again, the patent awards are recognition award. So as long as you're a SWE member, you had a patent in that given year, you would have received the patent award. And so it's one of our ways that we honor our members. And so with those, we wanted to do a separate program for the SWE recognition program. And again, the SWE recognition program includes tracks that are advocacy leadership, SWE leadership, academia management, and technical leadership. So what does this mean? The new awards program is going to have 100+ opportunities. This does not mean we have 100+ awards. The 100+ opportunities, for instance, we did add awards, and in some cases, we could have added more recipients. So for instance, historically, you could have just had 10 folks who could have received the award, or 10 individuals who could have received that specific awards. We may have increased the number to 15 or 20. So overall, we have 100+ new opportunities to recognize leaders across academia, management, and technical leadership, the advocacy leadership, and the SWE leadership. We've also, as I stated earlier, are moving from 3 award cycles to 2 award cycles. And this was all done because of the awards gap task force. I cannot thank them enough for their tireless effort and all the work that they did. Not only did they come up with new awards, come up with new naming conventions, they also spent 18 months doing a lot of data analysis. That data analysis included who applied for the awards, what career stages were they in, what parts of the world were they from, and what kind of, and are they academics, management, did they work for companies, etc., government. So we looked at a lot of data in order to create this new award structure. And again, 18 months of a lot of hard work. So again, I cannot stress how grateful we are to the awards task force for their amazing dedication, and then for Penny Worsing and her team in getting us through this. So thanks again. So the new awards program will begin on January 2nd, 2024. Please be aware that will be the date that the application will be opened, is January 2nd, 2024. There will be an email that comes from the SWE HQ email that will say that we have now opened the application. And please encourage everyone, please encourage folks to apply. Please apply. If you have any questions, you're always more than welcome to reach out to us. Our plan is, and we're trying to get the packet out sooner because we understand that this is an updated awards program, and their folks are going to want to understand what the new awards program requirements are, what are the specific criteria, and what are the specific requirements for submittal. And so with that, we are going to try to get the packet out as soon as possible. The team and the board of directors are still working through finalizing that packet, but we hope to get it out in December. But again, the application itself will not be opened until January 2nd of 2024. So the new program structure is going to be split into 3. We've got the Apex and the Ascent. The Apex and the Ascent awards are part of the SWE awards program, and then the recognition will be part of the SWE recognition program. So a little bit about Apex. Apex are SWE's highest level of awards. These are the awards the society has given historically. These are the awards the society has given at that society conference, again, in November and in December when we have it. These are normally for professionals in mostly 20+ years of experience. Those are our Apex awards. Some of our Apex award recipients will actually be speaking at the awards event at SWE 23 this year, but not all. Also, in addition to the Apex Awards, we will have the Ascent. The Ascent Awards encompass all other significant achievements, and again, this will span all career levels. So we'll go from student to mid-career, and the years would be about 0 to 20 years, okay? Recognition is we're going to acknowledge additional achievements by SWE members and groups. The SWE groups could be anything from the affinity groups to your section to your affiliates. So any SWE group could potentially be recognized. please note all Apex and Ascent nominations and announcements will be done concurrently, and the submittal will be due on March 1st. Please, this is a change. Historically, the awards applications close on March 31st. This year, they will close on March 1st, and the notifications will be done by June 30th. There are multiple reasons for this, but one of the main reasons we're closing them on March 1st is to allow our nominees and our members and the companies that put in a lot of effort as well, in addition to all the individuals who put in efforts, to be able to participate in our National Women's Month. It's historically been a crazy time in March for individuals who are putting together the nomination packages to put together the package and participate in that month's activities. And so with this, the submittal date will be March 1st. Again, for the recognition, the timing will be similar to the Mission Awards, and the submittal will be June 15th, and the notifications will be by August 31st.
Hey, well,
yes, I'm going to turn it over to Pamela.
Thank you, Anas, for all of that wonderful information and kind of getting the ball rolling on everything that is changing. It is now my honor to get to walk you through what the awards program actually looks like. And we're going to start with this high-level view, and then we're going to delve into each of the tracks and really go through them in detail. So what you see here is at a high level what our three course tracks look like: our academia, management, and technical track, as well as our advocacy and our SWE track. And you can see at both the Apex, the Ascent, and the recognition levels what awards are involved with them. You are going to know that there are several awards that now have new names. And in part, this is done because we have some sub-tracks inside of these main tracks, and we wanted to drive some consistency with the naming. We also recognize that some of our names around emerging were being given to folks that were well into their career, so 10, 15 years into their career, and it didn't necessarily feel like emerging was the right title at that point. So we've done some work to kind of readjust our names. We've also worked to bring in names from the We Local Awards in some cases, and respect and honor names that have been around for a long time as well, trying to find that balance of adjustment and retention, as well as pulling up from We Local. You are also going to see many awards have criteria changes, and I won't be going through all of the criteria today, in part because we are still working with the board to finalize the awards packet where the criteria resides. However, just know that we started with upwards of 120 different criteria, and what we've tried to do is harmonize that across packets so that it's easier to see progressions inside these tracks and how you move from an early professional or college student level into a mid-career and then on to a more senior professional inside a given track. And so going forward, we have about mid-20s as far as the number of criteria. So it's a pretty significant reduction that you're seeing here. And then additionally, what you're going to see is moving forward, only the SWE track awards require SWE membership, but every award in the SWE track will require membership going forward. So this is trying to have that balance of opportunities for folks that are really excelling professionally or in their advocacy work, but may not yet know about SWE, giving them some ability to be recognized by SWE and hopefully become more engaged, but also giving us the opportunity to really recognize and honor our exemplary members for their service to the society as well, separate from their work in their companies in the technical management or academia sectors or their advocacy work. So as I said, I'm going to walk through this. I know there's a lot of information on this chart. We're going to focus the rest of the discussion on the Apex and the Ascent awards. We will do more discussion around the recognition awards as those packets start to come together later this spring. So I'm going to start with the Academia, Management, and Technical Track Awards. I'm going to show these tracks in two forms. One will look like this, where you can see what awards are Apex, what awards are Ascent for mid-career and Ascent for early career. And then I'm also going to show another version shortly where you can see the sub-track progression. I personally am super excited about the changes that have been made around academia, management, and technical. I think that there are now great opportunities to recognize all career progressions, regardless of if you're in academia, management, or technical careers, at all levels. So I'm personally, as a technical career person, really excited to see broader acceptance of technical career with the new awards program. At the apex level, there are no changes. You're going to see the same awards that we have been giving here for years. So our Achievement Award, our Susan Genesis Upward Mobility Award, our Distinguished Engineering Educator, our Resident Challenger Medal, and our Entrepreneurial Award, all as we have given previously. You will start to see changes as we move into this ascent mid-career. So here, PRISM is the same award that we have historically given. The change with PRISM is that we are increasing the number of awards that are being given, because this is part of, as Anas mentioned, where we are going to be recognizing one participant per region that submits a qualified nomination. So as long as we are getting nominees from all 5 of our global regions, we will be giving out 10 awards. Then we have our Distinguished Global Leader. This is now the highest level award in the global leadership. It was previously called Global Leadership, but because we are also adding a global leader as a mid-range award, this is the top as it was before. There's now a mid-range, and then there's the emerging global leader as we had before. You're going to see here that we've gone from honoring 3 to honoring 5 to give us the ability to recognize 1 person per global region. Engineering Educator, this is also a new award. It is the mid award in that track. So we've got the Distinguished Engineering Educator and the Emerging Engineering Educator that we previously had, and we recognize the gap in the middle and have added this award in as well. Pathfinder is the Old Emerging Leader Award, and is part of that broader track to recognize general leadership in technical and academia and management throughout your career. I've talked about Global Leader being the middle of that global leadership track, and this award will also recognize 5 individuals, from 1 from each of the global regions. Our Trailblazer Award is a new award and kind of fills the gap where we did not really have a technical management or academic award for folks between 5 and 10 years in their career. So we are filling that gap and providing an award that is just solely focused on your career accomplishments. The Emerging Global Leader is the end of that progression. And again, we will have 5 recipients, 1 from each global region. Emerging Educator is 10 awards, up from its previous 5. And then Rising Technical Contributor, this award is up from 10 and is 20, recognizing that we had many folks in this age range and experience range around the world. And as we continue to grow broadly, this is a key area that we need to have more representation. Additionally, Rising Technical Contributor is an award that is open to both graduate students as well as early professionals. So this is one that we want to make sure that both groups are aware of the opportunity here. Okay. And I see the question about global regions. I think we have a slide later on that we can show that when we get to Q&A. So hang tight just for a couple minutes. Into our advocacy track. Again, here, you're not going to see any major changes with our apex. There is one small change. So you still have our Advocating Women in Engineering, our Spark, and our Rodney D. Chip. All 3 of these awards had previously been open to any experience level, but this is one of the places where our research and doing all of the analysis really paid off. We saw that we had applicants from all career stages. However, when it came to awarding, we were consistently giving the awards to folks with 20 plus years of experience. So we have gone ahead and made these formal apex with 20 plus years of experience. And we have also added the mid-career and the early career. The other change that we have made around the apex awards, more recently, Rodney D. Chip has been open to both individuals and to companies. Initially, when Rodney D. Chip was initially endowed, it was an individual award. And over time, we expanded that scope. As we went back and looked at the data again, what we were seeing was that when companies competed against individuals, the companies were more likely to receive Rodney D. Chip than the individuals. So acknowledging that discrepancy, we've gone ahead and returned Rodney D. Chip to its original intent when it was endowed as an individual award. And we've added the Employer Champion as the award that will have very similar criteria to what you'd previously seen with a Rodney D. Chip company. But now we just have the companies competing against each other and individuals competing against each other in this area of advocacy, either from a male or from a company. Then getting into our Ascent mid-career, these are all new awards, and they are modeled after the Apex Award. So Engaged Advocate lines up with Advocating Women in Engineering. Ignite lines up with Spark. Engaged Ally lines up with Rodney D. Chip. And then for the Ascent Early Career, we have created the same opportunities for individuals with less than 10 years of professional experience. So Emerging Advocate lines up for Advocating Women in Engineering. Catalyst lines up with Spark. And Emerging Ally lines up with Rodney D. Chip. And we are super excited to see what our applicant pools will look like for this, given that we're going to provide the opportunities for other career levels. Now, last but not least is also another one that I'm really excited about, is having a formal SWE track awards. Several of the awards that were on here are a mix of things that were given at individual level through our previous SWE awards program, and awards that were given at the WE locals under, in some cases, the same names or different names. So I'm really excited that we now have the ability to recognize our outstanding and amazing leaders around the world for all that they do for SWE at all stages of their career. So our Apex Awards, again, are underneath. We have 2 awards here. We have our Distinguished Service Award, which goes to SWE members with more than 20 years of professional experience, and our SWE Fellow grade, which is technically a membership grade, but we recognize and honor through our Apex Awards program. So, and that is based on a percent of membership. I am going to put a little plug out here as I see many super SWE volunteers on the phone. Our Distinguished Service Award, sadly, has not been given out every year. And we have ample, very deserving members for this award. So I want to encourage all of you to think about friends that are super SWE participants, heavily engaged in advocacy work or in SWE leadership work, and really give them a pump and a nudge this year about putting in for distinguished service. We should very easily be able to honor 5 folks a year for distinguished service. So just a little plug there. As we move into the Ascent mid-career, you're going to see a new award. It's called Distinguished Engineer. This is leveraging what had been our WE Local Elite Award or Legacy Award from the WE Locals. And this award recognizes professional members with 10 to 20 years of experience at the society level. We also have moved the Distinguished New Engineer Award into the Ascent Early Career. This is a long-standing award that's been around for a very long time. And it kind of previously had straddled if it was a professional award or if it was a SWE award. We are really now going to focus it in on SWE service with this award. That in the Ascent collegiate levels, we have, again, as Anas said earlier, added. So we had previously allowed both graduate students and undergraduate students to apply to the Outstanding Collegiate Member. And over recent years, we've been seeing that the distribution of graduate students and undergraduate students is getting pretty close to 50-50, which says that we have quite a bit of interest from our graduate students and engagement in the program. And so we felt strongly that it was time to go ahead and separate the 2 programs. And so we will now have an Outstanding Graduate Student Member as well as an Outstanding Collegiate Member. And then pulling over from our WE Locals, we are bringing up the Rising Collegiate Star, which recognizes collegiate members with less than 2 years of experience. And last but not least, because we cannot forget our support for our collegiate members, we will continue forward with our Outstanding Counselor and our Outstanding Faculty Advisor Awards. These awards now are going to move, though, from being 1 award per year to 1 award per region per year. So we're really excited about the fact that we're going to have the ability to recognize those folks that are supporting our collegiates, not only historically in the U.S., but also in our global region as our collegiate affiliates continue to grow around the world. So as I promised, each person has their way of liking how these awards look. I'm going to show the second view, which shows a little bit more detail about how the tracks and the progressions work inside. I'm going to again start with our progressions for academia, management, and technical track. And inside this track, we actually have 3 distinct sub-tracks, as well as a couple other awards that are for special occupations. So we start with this general accomplishments in academia, management, and technical. This track is really open to all of us as women engineers. It is here to celebrate the contributions of women engineers in their respective field, if that is government, academia, management, technical, etc. This is the track for you. And as you will notice, we have awards that start with Rising Technical Contributor at 0 to 5 years of professional experience, then moving up to the Trailblazer at 5 to 10, then the Pathfinder at 10 to 15, Prism at 15 plus, and then culminating with our Achievement Award for 20 plus for those on the more technical contribution side of things, and then the Susan Genesis Upward Mobility Award for those more on the management and administrative side of things. Our second track is Accomplishments in Global Leadership. This track is a newer track. We only started adding the Global Leader Awards in about the last 5 years. It is going to focus by starting with our emerging global leaders who have 5 to 10 years of experience in a global role, and I'll talk a little more in just a second about what that means. Then global leader in the middle with 10 to 15 years of experience in global roles, and distinguished global leader with greater than 15 years in global roles. And these awards are also seen as feeders into our Achievement and our Susan Genesis Upward Mobility Awards. Now, as we move into talking about what a global role looks like, if you remember from the previous global leadership packet, it was very vague. We kind of left it up to the discretion of the nominator or the nominee about what it meant to be in a global role. We recognized that more definition was needed. And so going forward, a global role is going to be considered any role where you are working with coworkers and or managing a team with members in greater than one country. So moving to another country and working in an expat role where everyone is located in that same place will not count. However, if you're working on a team with team members in 2, 3, 4 locations, that will count regardless of where you are located relative to those team members. So this is a track where it's very possible you could have 15 years of professional experience and still be in the 5 to 10 years of global experience. So excited about this track and what it means to recognize those individuals that are working in global roles. Then we move into our accomplishments in engineering education. This is another really important area for SWE. As we know, just like in the workforce, engineering educators are disproportionately not women. And so we want to recognize our emerging engineering educators with 5 to 10 years of experience, our engineering educators with 10 to 20 years of experience, and then our distinguished engineering educators with greater than 20 years of experience. And then, as I mentioned, we have 2 awards that fall for special occupations. This is the Entrepreneurial Award and the Resnick Challenger Medal. The Resnick Challenger Medal is open only to those working in space industry. And so that's why we've kind of segregated these out as slightly different awards here. Then moving to the advocacy track, here again, you can see the very distinct sub-tracks that are included. So our first one is advocacy for women in engineering. And it starts with the emerging advocate, then moves into that engaged advocate, and then advocating women in engineering. Our second track is a very popular one in SWE, which is our mentoring track. It starts with the Catalyst Award, it moves to Ignite, and then culminates with SPAR. And then also very important to us is our accomplishments as a male ally for women in engineering. Starts with the emerging ally, moves on to the engaged ally, and then culminates with our endowed Rodney D. Chip Award. And then, as mentioned before, for where we had previously had Rodney D. Chip as both an individual and a company, we've now moved those accomplishments as an employer into a separate track and have the employer champion there for that. And then to get a look at what our SWE progression look like, we start with our accomplishments in SWE as a collegiate member, starting with that rising collegiate star, moving to the outstanding collegiate members. And then if you move on to graduate school, there's also the outstanding graduate member award available there. For accomplishments in SWE as a professional member, we'll start with the Distinguished New Engineer, move to Distinguished Engineer, and then culminate with both the Distinguished Service and the Fellow grade. And again, all those awards and the professional membership group are going to be based on your years of SWE professional membership. So you may have 20 years of experience, but if you only joined SWE 10 years ago, you would have 10 years of SWE professional membership, assuming all of those were professional years that you were a member of SWE. And then last but not least is our accomplishments in collegiate support with the outstanding counselor and the outstanding faculty advisor. So I know I've just been through a ton, and I'm sure we are all still digesting this. So I want to make sure you know that there's going to be multiple opportunities over the next few months to gain more information about our awards program. We started with a podcast in August. It is episode 223 on Diverse. If you haven't had a chance to view it, Anas, Alexis, and myself sit down and talk about the history of our SWE Awards program, as well as where we're going in the future. And for all of us, it was very informative. Like we learned, we gave out the first achievement award in 1954, which is really amazing that we have been giving out that award now as long as we have. Additionally, we learned some of the important reasons why it is critical for women to be recognized and how it can help propel your career, which also really played into why the awards committee and the awards gap task force felt so strongly that we needed to not only be recognizing women at the end of their career when they've really already achieved, but also why we needed to have these early and mid-career awards to help women build on their careers and enable to open the doors to get to those more senior roles, given the importance some awards can have in progression. We are doing this webinar here. We did one this morning, US time, this evening if you're in APJ. And these webinars are being recorded and will be posted to the SWE YouTube channel shortly after the recordings are done. We also are going to be doing a session at WE23. We are on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock at WE23. The session is learning about SWE's new award program. It'll be myself and Inas, as well as Penny, giving that presentation. And immediately after, we're going to have an hour of office hours. So please bring all your Q&A that we have not addressed here today, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can at WE23. As Anas has said, the awards packet will be released no later than January 2nd. The implementation team and the board are working hard to try to get it out in December. We are in the process right now of approving the packet as we go. And so we'll get that out there as soon as we can. And then once the packet is out there, we will start doing training for nominees and nominators to prepare them for the awards program like we've done in previous years. And I'm really happy to say that as part of that training, we are going to have some information on how to find the right award, which is actually a great segue to the next piece. I will say, if at any point over the next several months you have questions, concerns, or feedback, the awards-implementation@SWE.org email is where we will be taking that information. I check this email quite literally every day, if not every other day. Sometimes I have to be a mom. But we are working very hard to answer all questions in a timely manner and get you the information that you need. So please, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from our members. We've tried really hard to make this a very intentionally inclusive program. We know that we've made some huge steps forward. There may also be some things where there's still room for us to make some tweaks. So please give us that feedback along the way. And as I said, now moving forward, one of the big things is going to be the award identification piece. So as we move into WE23, as well as some of those nominee and nominator trainings, I have asked members of our Senate, as well as our global ambassadors, to help me with showcasing how to find the right award. So I have about 10 to 15 volunteers now that have signed up and are helping me through highlighting where they are in their careers. And basically we're doing a little bit of mock, like what the conversation would be between a nominator and a nominee to find the right award. And so we'll have some of that information available as part of our presentation at SWE 23, as well as in the trainings that come closer to when the packet is released. We do think that these conversations are going to be even more critical going forward, because now that there are more awards, there may actually be more awards that someone is eligible for. And so having that dialogue about either, is your last year of eligibility for a certain award, or how this award could help you in your career, or where you feel stronger based on your experience, is going to be more important, because you still can only apply for one award each year. Okay. And with that, just a final reminder that the new awards program will begin on January 2nd of 2024. Also, 2 key email addresses to keep in mind. There is the usual awards@SWE.org. Ronica and Sharon, who are our awards chair and awards chair-elect, are monitoring that email address. This will be where general questions, once the packet is open, can be answered. And then the awards-implementation@SWE.org email is the one that I'll be monitoring and taking feedback. Hey,
Pamela, would you like to show the global regions? Yes, ma'am, please.
And while we can preview what some of the nice fun ones are, and I think the global regions are back here. Oh, they're not. Okay, let's go back to this and I will find it while you answer some questions.
Okay, cool. I will answer a couple of questions. So one of the questions we got is, will the SWE 23 sessions be the same or similar as this webinar? For the virtual session, it will be, because we had to record that in advance. But for the session in person at SWE 23, it will have some of the same information, but we will be going in more details about the criteria, what awards folks could be eligible for. And so it will be somewhat similar, but it will have additional information. We also got a couple of questions this morning, U.S. time, evening, in other parts of the world. And so I wanted to cover some of those. So the question was, can you apply for more than one award? The response is we respectfully request, and it's actually a requirement of the awards packet, that you only apply for one award. Just as a reminder that we get many, many people who apply for these awards. And so in order for us to judge fairly and to have enough volunteers for the judging and the coordination, for the coordination, we ask and we require that you only apply for one award. Okay. There's also another question about can you give us some hints about the recognition awards? Will the mission awards still exist for section affiliates and SWE groups? Yes. The awards will still exist. They will just be potentially in a different manner. The reason why we don't cover them on this webinar is because at this point we are planning on keeping many of them. So if you saw them on the list, and I'll ask, I'm going to stop 1 second so we can show the global region map. And then I'm going to ask Pamela to go back to the slide to show what the recognition awards will be. And then we'll discuss them in more detail. But hopefully everyone can see the global regions. So I think the specific question we got was related to Canada. Where does Canada fit in? So Canada would be part of the North Americas. Please note each set of colors is a different global regions on this map. And we've got 5 of them.
Okay. And then you wanted to have me go back to all of the awards and talk about.
Yeah, all the awards, the one that shows everything. Yes, that would be great. So as you can see, we'll still have the Motorola Foundation Multicultural Awards, the Boeing Company Multicultural Awards, one's for professionals, the others for collegiates, the mission citations, the membership growth, and the membership retention. Those will all still be there. We've also got the DENIB ones for advocacy, and we've got the patents. So yes, so what you've historically been used to with the mission and the multicultural awards will still be there.
The only thing that may get added in this, it was feedback during installation weekend at the CPC. Some companies and some types of organizations do not go from a patenting route. They focus more on journal publications. And so the question was asked, could we create a similar award to the Patent Recognition Award for peer-reviewed publications. And that is something that the implementation team is looking into right now. We are not sure if we're going to have it ready for FY24, but it is something that us and the board felt very strongly is a great suggestion and continues to advance our broader mission of, recognizing technical contributions of women in engineering. And so we're just working through the logistics and feasibility of how to do that in a way where we don't have to go out and find every single article and verify, but like how we can do it in a similar manner, how we verify patents today. So we're working through some of those details. If you have any ideas, that would be a great place to provide some feedback for me. Yes, I can maybe share. There's a question about can we reshare the timeline? So that is here. And so what you are seeing is that the submission timeframe from Apex has shifted, as I said. It will be 30 days shorter than what we had in the past. So it will start on January 2nd and will close on March 1st. Again, this is largely in response to the concerns that we were having awards due around International Women's Day. Many of us are heavily involved, and many of our companies are heavily involved now in celebrating International Women's Day. So trying to recognize that. And then for the mission awards, that timing will be similar. We don't think we've aligned on a final opening date, but it will be in the spring as it has been in the past. And then those will be due by June 15th.
One other question we got earlier today, or we got in our previous session, was that letters of recommendation or the letters of support, those will be done very similar to what we did last year. And so just as a note, those will be sent through Smarter Select. We will still continue to use Smarter Select as the application tool for the SWE awards and recognition programs. So just wanted to highlight, we are not changing our application tool. That will still continue to stay the same.
And then we've got another question that's come in about mission awards. They had historically been on June 30th. We have pulled those up to June 15th. This is in part because June 30th is immediately before the July 4th holiday in the U.S., which is observed by our headquarters staff, which makes it hard for them to get all of the work done that needs to be done so that the mission awards are ready for approval by the board at Ward 1. So there's work that we have to do from a headquarters standpoint. Then we turn it over to our volunteers to do the judging. And ideally, we want to have that ready to be approved by the board at Ward 1, which typically happens within the first 2 weeks of August. So to make sure that we have ample time, taking into account that July 4th holiday in the U.S., where we typically get a short or a lost week, both from a headquarters standpoint and from a volunteer standpoint, and the deadline of trying to get it to our board in time for Ward 1, so that all the notifications can go out by the end of the end of August. We needed to make a slight shift.
Keep the questions coming. We've gotten really good questions, so I appreciate them. Pamela, anything else from our earlier session that you wanted to highlight from the questions? I think I was going through mine in my head. I think we've highlighted all the main ones, but in case I forgot one, if you had one that you were thinking of that we wanted to highlight from the questions.
I think you have hit on most of our great questions we got from this morning. So we've talked about, still just one application per year. We've talked about the timing. We've talked about some name changes, and we've talked about some reasons why we've added awards. So I think we've hit many of the topics from this morning.
Yes, I will give everybody 2 more minutes to put your questions in case you have a question that you would like to ask. And again, if a question should pop up for you after we're finished today, please email the awards-implementation@swe.org. Pamela has been great about checking that every day, so much appreciated on that front. And then also, if you have any questions, we will have the office hours at WE23, so please come join us. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. One more thing. Okay. Would like to see a slide for the intro part that Anas did about why all the changes. That's that's fair feedback for us to bring to H23 and some of our nominator. I know that that's something actually Trish, as our board contact, has been asking for, because it's something that our archivist usually wants to have when we make these big kinds of SWE changes. These are the kinds of things that go into our archive. So some of this deliberate inclusivity and assessment that we have done are things that we need to document and make sure that they are passed on to our archivist. So yes, we will work on that, and it will help cross another thing off of our list that we need to do.
Yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate the feedback.
Okay.
I think we're good on, I'm just confirmed no more other questions came up. I think we're good on questions. Thank you all so much. And again, amazing work by the awards the implementation team. They've done a fantastic job. I didn't say this earlier, but my timeline was that we would give the team 2 years to implement the updated awards, and they've done it in 6 months. So amazing, and hats off to them. Amazing work on that. And then again, once again, the amazing work that the awards task force did in order to get us to the new updated awards structure that we have. So hats off again to, and congratulations to an amazing work done by the awards task force and the implementation team. So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you for making the time to sit and talk with us this evening or this morning, depending on where you're calling from. And super excited about this new awards program. Cannot say enough thank yous to Penny, as well as the rest of the GAP task force, as well as to my team that's now working on implementation. It truly is one of the coolest teams that I have ever been on. We can't say enough just how many strong, amazing women are on this team, and how seamlessly everybody has worked together through both analysis and implementation, which has been a lot of fun, to be honest, which is really rare that you say something that's this heavy of the analysis is a lot of fun, but it has been a lot of fun on this team. So a nice plug, if you haven't thought about SWE volunteering can be a lot of fun too. So thank you again for making the time, and look for this recording on YouTube. Feel free to send your friends or fellow members of your section or your company to it as we get it posted. And we hope to see you at WE23 for another recording in the December, January, February time. So with that, I already see tons of questions coming in, which I love. And I know Anas is equally excited about. So I think let's try to delve into these. One of the first questions is, are these awards self-nominated or colleague-driven? So you have the opportunity either way. You can self-nominate, or you can be nominated by a nominator. We do recommend having a nominator because it's just one more set of eyes that's looking over your packet and making sure that everything is there, and also that you're doing an ample job bragging about yourself and all your awesomeness, that you are more than welcome to self-nominate. Okay. I'm going to go to this next question, and also let you take this one. Will the goal be to release the packet earlier in December annually? With the shorter time frame, that would be very helpful.
So a couple of things. So the awards, per procedure, the awards packet will officially be out on January 2nd every year. That is the official goal. However, we, just like this year and in the forthcoming years, the teams would be working to try to get the packet out in early December. Please note, even if the packet is out in early December, the actual applications will not open until January 2nd. But the packet may be published in December, and more than likely we expect the package to be published in December, as the packet has to be approved by the board of directors, and the board of directors normally approves the packet during our meeting at conference or earlier in the year. But like I said, we will try to shoot for early December, but the official timeline will be January 2nd of every year.
Next question is, can a candidate apply for multiple awards when they are not sure? Will there be ongoing support through the nomination process, January through February? So we do require that you only apply for one award each year. And to be honest, if you've ever applied for a SWE award, it's quite the application process. It's not quite as bad as what I went through to become a senior technologist at my company. However, I will say it was a great foundation for getting ready for that packet. So realistically, somebody is only ever going to want to write one packet because most of these packets are somewhere between 2,500 words and 3,500 words. So it's a fairly involved packet with reference letters and other requirements. So we do say one nomination per year. And this is where, we really are going to do some training with the nominators to have discussions with your nominee about what award makes the most sense. And, weighing out is this my last year of eligibility for a given award? Or, where are my strongest contributions to figure out where is the best place to apply? So that will be part of those trainings between January and March. Again, front loaded on the January side.
And a couple of, to follow up on what Pamela was saying there, is really if you work with your nominee or work with other folks who know you or at your company or potentially your SWE section and or your SWE affiliate to figure out which one is the best award that fits you, and especially at the that given year in your career or in your SWE SWE volunteerism. So just to make sure to you can get other people's feedback to discuss it. The committee will not tell you which one is best for you. That is, they will not do that. So if you specifically have questions about what is required for the award or what is the information that the packet is saying you need to include, then of course you're more than welcome to ask questions. The awards at SWE.org will be open. Feel free to send in any questions that you might have during, for the January and February. And again, the packet will be due March 1st, is that as you get through everything to make sure that you send in any questions you might have. And they will let you know. If it's a question they can't answer, then they'll let you know they cannot answer that question. Also, please keep in mind, when we say that the process and the applications are due March 1st, that also means all the letters of recommendation or all the letters of support that go with the packet will also due on March 1st, okay? So in order for your packet to be considered complete, if the award specifically requires letters, then those also have to be submitted by that March 1st deadline.
Okay. Neither. What do you get?
Yes. Feel free to ask any questions. We're here to answer them today. Oh, this is a great question. I will, since Pamela specifically wrote this definition, I will turn it over to Pamela to answer. Yes, there will be a specific definition for what is global work. It is in the packet. Pamela, I can open my packet and read the definition, or if you've got it in front of you, please feel free to go ahead and provide the definition.
I don't have the packet in front of me, but I will say I kind of have this one memorized because we spent so much time on this as a team. Global work is going to be defined as working on a team or leading a team with members in greater than one country. And so I know that this is a little bit of a shift because in the past it had been inclusive of things like expat assignments where you may have moved to a country and everyone would have still been in that country and we considered that global work. Now it is really going to be focused on engagement with employees at multiple locations. So you have to have team members in greater than one location. You can be a team member or you can be a lead. But we're really emphasizing that piece about engagement with greater than one country. So that will be included. And as part of our new experience calculator, it will also help you with calculating your years of global experience or total experience based on what types of roles you're applying. So we are excited about that as well.
Thank you, Pamela.
Hey, next one, and I'm going to let you field is, will there be any changes to the online submission process itself?
So we will continue to do the online submission process in Smarter Select, which is the online or cloud-based software that SWE uses. There are we've updated to match each one of the awards. So because we've updated the criteria and updated requirements for each of the awards, we've added new awards. You'll see those added, but the online submission process will be the same in the sense of it will still be Smarter Select. Letters of recommendation notifications will go out from the cloud-based tool and the database, and so that will continue to be the same. There will also include all your demographics, the person who the nominee is. All that information will continue to be submitted via the Smarter Select database.
Yeah, and in general, no real changes. You may see that the number of letters is being adjusted. We are going to drive consistency, so all the Apex Awards are going to have 4 letters of recommendation, as well as 3,500 word applications. And then as we move down into Ascent, depending if it's mid-career or early career, we will again have a consistent number of letters and consistent word count for each of those 2 levels. So some changes there. And as I mentioned, we are putting out a new experience calculator that will need to be added. You will only be asked about SWE membership if it's a SWE track award where SWE membership is required. Will not be asked on the other awards. So we're trying to streamline as much as we can through this process and make it as easy as possible, recognizing, SWE is still a very prestigious awards program, and we know that we are a little bit on the heavy side compared to some of the other awards programs.
So there's also a question about, is there any way for nominators to know when the recommenders have submitted?
Yes. So it's up recently, recent years, where now when the letters of recommendation come in, the nominator is getting an email to let them know about that. And you will also be able to, as you've been in the past, to see what the status is as the nominator. So that gives you the ability that, if you're a week out and missing a letter, to be able to follow up with that nominator and confirm that they're going to submit it, and or, if they're not going to submit it, get a substitution in there for that. I know that is always a stressful part of being a nominator. I will speak firsthand, having done a couple nominations last year. It's always stressful to make sure that all the pieces come together, and especially the pieces you personally don't have control over, like those nomination letters.
And a couple of things to add on that, Pamela, is also just to make sure. So one of the things is sometimes these go to people's junk mail. So if you put someone in for recommenders, then please make sure to email them and let them know that you've put them in as a recommender, and then to also let them know that it could be in their junk box. Also, the Smarter Select tool will tell you the date and time that the email sent out. So as soon as you put the person's information in and you hit the save button, it will automatically send a recommender a note. You don't have to submit your application, you just have to have saved the application, and it will automatically send an email to the recommender that you've listed. So that is, so please make sure to let the recommender know that you submitted their name. That's happened before where people are like, well, I didn't get it, and it turned out it was in their junk mail. Next question.
Yeah, I can take this one. So this next question is there any change in the way SWE provides feedback to the nominees after the decision is made? So we hear you that everyone would love to get feedback. I have to tell you that many of our awards receive upwards of 100 nominees into them. And we anticipate that will still continue. So it is very challenging for our coordinators to provide feedback to everyone in anything that resembles a reasonable manner. What I would say, as somebody that has been a nominator multiple times, and in some cases nominated folks that did not receive an award the first time, and we were working on a packet for improvement for the second year, my general rule is going through and saying, so what? Helping that person get the so what into their application. I have to admit that when you say things like countless or numerous, it's really hard for the judges to judge that. Being able to put things in like greater than 10, greater than 20, like that actually provides more clout to the rest or to the nomination and gives them an ability to actually judge against others and to be able to say like, okay, I understand that, newers can be 2 and newers can be 200. And so being able to help them see where that person really is on the spectrum will help with the scoring rubrics along the way. So that's probably my biggest piece to all nominators. I know when I nominate folks is where I spend most of my time. And my poor nominees always kind of get with me where they're like, Pam, seriously, can you say so what one more time? But it's really what makes a difference is that, so what? Why is this important? Why is this impactful? The more you can explain that in the packet, usually the better the scoring goes.
And one other thing to add is also look at when the awardees are announced, to look at what the information about them is in the information in their citation, in the information in the magazine, to fully understand. A lot of that information is information that was in their packet. And so to fully understand why that person received potentially the award. One of the other items is to make sure that the recommendation letters back up the information. So again, the recommendation letters are a great source of information to the judges. And so therefore, you want to make sure that the recommendation letters back up that information. And Trish, who is our headquarters liaison, wanted to make sure everybody, and hopefully everybody saw the note, but for the question that was previously asked about the notice about the letters of recommendation, is that there potentially could be firewalls for companies or .gov email addresses that might stop Smarter Select from being able to provide the email and for the email to go through. And so again, in addition to checking folks' junk mail, an option if they don't get it is to potentially use their personal email instead, because that might be what is necessary in order to get through firewalls. Thank you, Trish, for letting us know.
And just one last adder about the feedback piece. It is something that we did benchmark with other awards programs and many of our similar awards programs. So if you look at like IEEE, ASME, SHEP, NSBE, Academy of Sciences, etc., they also do not provide feedback, again, due to the large number of nominees. So it is something that we did look into. And so it is a place where we're trying to drive consistency across our industry.